What up? This is your boy
Hey.
Doughboy, and this is another installment of the Doughboy 2.0 show where I like to take some time, get with a professional or expert in a particular field that I would love to know more about, and we just do a deep dive on all things that they do. Which brings me to my next guest. Anybody who knows me knows I've had a very story dedicated, documented past with my weight. I got up to highest 486 pounds, weight loss surgery, a whole bunch of different things, trying to become a personal trainer. So my next guest is one of my cool friends. We met about a year ago. She's super dope, and she is about all things fitness, professional bodybuilder, been in the game for a long time and knows everything about fitness. Please give it up for my homegirl, Linsey Marie Fitness. Hey, clap it up, clap it up. And I don't,
Hey.
I always call you Lindsay, but is there something else that you go by, or is Linsey Marie Fitness cool?
Yeah, no, I always just go by Linsey Marie, which
Okay,
is weird because it's my first and middle name. But yeah,
got you.
that's like stuck.
Got you. So, Linsey Marie, and before we start, everybody out there, before we even start, if you like the content that we are bringing, please like the video, share the video, comment on the video. All of these things help in the great page that we are trying to build. All right, now, Linsey, before I get to asking you a million questions about trying to get this six pack that's evaded me my whole life, let's get into you for a little bit first, and let's let the audience know who you are, where you come from, and what it is you do. So, just give us a breakdown of who you are and where you come from.
All right. So I'm originally from New York in Long Island, and I was born and raised there. I just recently moved out to LA about like 2 years ago. I
Okay.
started competitive bodybuilding in 2010, is when I did my first show. So I was a senior in high school. I was like 17 years old.
Okay.
And so I competed all the way from 2010 till 2017, did my last show, and then that was it. I became certified as a trainer when I was 18, but started training people when I was like 17 when I first like started working at the gym,
Okay.
just to get comfortable in that momentum. And after I got really sick and I had to stop competing in bodybuilding, I just decided to, find my niche in the fitness industry as opposed to the bodybuilding industry.
Gotcha. Okay, so you have, more than a decade plus in this game, so you know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Now, and before we even jump into the other stuff, now you said you got into competitive bodybuilding at 17. How did that come along? How did you hop into that?
So it's actually a really funny story. I was working at Planet Fitness, which
Mhm.
oddly enough, if anyone knows Planet Fitness, they're like anti bodybuilder. They're like, they have like a lunk alarm, like the whole thing.
Right.
Everything about a bodybuilder, they like don't allow into their gym.
Uh-huh.
So I was working there and I had my first trainer. She was just a regular customer there.
Mhm.
And she was cool and she was a female bodybuilder. So one day I was like complaining to her, like, oh, I just feel like I'm getting fat. Like, I don't really like how I look, da 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 da. And it just started off as just personal training at first.
Right.
So she was like, all right, let me train you. And I was like, all right, cool. In that same time frame, the bikini category came out in bodybuilding because in
Mhm.
bodybuilding there's like I think there's like six different classes that you could do as a female now. So
Okay.
bikini had just come out. So bikini at that point was like a very natural hourglass shape. So
Okay.
you didn't have to be crazy lean or anything like that. So she was like,
Mhm.
you should do bodybuilding. I was like, no offense, you're super cool. I don't really want to look like you though.
Let me
And she
ask
was
you
like,
this
no,
before
yeah.
you continue on. What type of body did you have? Like, what body type were you pre-meeting her at Platinum Fitness? Like, were you bigger?
I
Because
was like
I know you're
skinny fat.
shorter, but were you skinny,
Yeah.
fat? Like, what were you?
I was skinny fat. So I was
Okay.
about like 100 and probably like 125 pounds, but my body fat was probably at roughly like, I would say like 28 to 30.
Okay. So you were a
So yeah,
little bigger.
yeah.
Okay.
So like I was, and it's crazy because like I was always an athlete, but I was always bottom heavy because I was a dancer, cheerleader, gymnast,
Hmm.
and a track athlete all my whole life.
Okay.
So yeah, so when I got into bodybuilding, I was like, all right, I'll think about it. So then I
Hmm.
started seeing like the shows come out and I started watching shows and I watched this girl, Nicole Negrani, who was my age. And
Okay.
I was like, all right, now I want to go, now I want to
So
compete.
she lit the fire for you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I decided to start competing. I did my first show and I was the youngest girl in the whole show. And then I came in third out
Okay.
of 9 girls. Yeah. So, and then I went from there. Then I did my second show at
Hmm.
nationals as a teen and came in third place there as third ranked teen in the United States.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I went there, and then after that, it was just like history. I loved it so much. There was nothing more powerful to me than like stepping inside of a gym, especially because I was bullied in high school all the time.
Okay.
So, it was so funny because my senior year in high school, I started off the year of people like bullying me and making fun of me, and then ending the year and everyone thinking like what I was doing was so cool, and
Nice.
then like flipping the script. And I was like, seriously, like this is just like how like small-minded people are. I'm like, you used to make fun of me and pick on me because I was
That
like,
quickly.
didn't look
Right.
like this. And now it's like the switch up, and now all y'all want to be like my friend, like
Yeah.
especially like the guys.
Hmm.
Crazy how that works out. But yeah, so then after like high school, like I didn't go away to a college or anything like that. I
Hmm.
decided that like I knew what I wanted to do. Fitness was it for me. So I went to community college, got like a degree or whatever, an associate's degree. And
Okay.
then I just started studying because like for me to go to like a 4-year school for kinesiology or sports physiology or anything like that,
Hmm.
like it was a waste of time to me. And I'm not saying that school is a waste of time for everybody, but for someone like me who can't like focus, like I'm going to be putting myself in $200,000 worth of college like
Debt.
loans for
Right.
nothing. For
Exactly.
what? To start off my life with that when I could literally go get the exact same textbooks and teach myself the anatomy and physiology of the human body. And like personal training is one of these industries that it's trial and error. Like
Hmm.
you can't sit here and tell me like as a professor, this is how you train a client. Well, every single client is different. So
Exactly.
you could teach me the anatomy and physiology of the body, but like, why can't I teach myself that?
Hmm.
So that's what I did. I taught myself everything like that. And then I started picking up clients because like I was young. So everyone in my age bracket was like, I want to look like you, da da da. So it was
Hmm.
very easy for me. And I was working at a bodybuilding gym when I got into it more. I
Okay.
quit Planet Fitness because they basically made me. And then and then I moved on into a bodybuilding gym.
And let me ask you this. And I want to make sure I tread lightly with this question because I don't want it, to come off the wrong way. But I do want to ask you about this. So, was there any stigma that you dealt with as being a woman that's trying to get strong AF and get cut? Like, was there any preconceived
Yeah.
notions that you had, or any like did you run into any things that you didn't like about becoming a female bodybuilder?
Yeah, so I would say like a little bit further into my career
Mhm.
after I decided to stop doing bikini because the judges were like, look, it's just not going to happen for you. You're not going
Mhm.
to place much higher than what you are now because you're too big for bikini. At
Okay.
that point, like because I like to weightlift and everything like that, as the years went on, like I just pack on muscle very, very easily genetically.
Hmm.
So I was gaining more weight, but not necessarily bad weight. I was gaining more muscle, which in my industry is like a really good thing.
Okay.
So when the judges kept marking me down, I was going from being a top 3 girl to like, not even cracking the top 5. So that
Damn.
was like a really hard pill for me to swallow, was just like, all right, I went from being like, I'm a very competitive athlete. So I went
Hmm.
from being like very competitive, always cracking the top 3 to barely even making it now. So the judges were like, look, you know exactly what it is that we're going to tell you. You have to do one of two things: either starve yourself and do nothing but cardio and don't touch a dumbbell for an entire year,
Right.
or you take a year off and you actually match your upper body to your lower body and you move up into figure. So
Mm.
when I made that decision, and the difference between bikini and figure is that bikini is a small petite look
Hmm.
and figure is a little bit more muscular, still feminine, but
Hmm.
not like women's bodybuilding. So
Okay.
when I decided to cross over into figure, I did have to start doing drugs. I shouldn't say I have to. No one put a gun to my head and was like, all right,
Now, when
you
you
need
say
to do
drugs,
steroids.
you mean like steroids, like anabolic?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like
Okay.
anabolic steroids.
Okay.
So to put the extra muscle on and to become leaner. Like at that point for figure, you have to be like, I was 140 pounds at like 10% body fat, which is like very, very, very low for a woman. So
Right.
that stigma, getting into that side of the industry, that's like a very dark industry. A lot of females don't like to talk about it. I'm
Hmm.
very open about it because if there's one thing that I could like tell, especially females and guys too, because like I don't understand why guys do steroids as much as they do.
Hmm.
But it's just like not worth it. And I think getting into that stigma, like for the average person, when they looked at me, especially like when I was in public and I was like, you know, so lean. I had veins popping out of my like biceps and like
And
all the
you said you were
time.
down like to close to 10% body fat at that time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the average woman is, correct me if I'm wrong, is between 26 and 28%, right?
Yeah. That's
And that's not
average.
even overweight. That's just normal.
That's normal.
Whoo,
Yeah.
so you were 10. What were you like?
10%.
Okay, now, were you going crazy? Like, were you going out of your mind when you were
Oh,
that?
I was
Like,
a nut job.
walk me
I
through
was
an
a nut
average
job.
day back then.
I was a nut job. So like I was doing like 3 hours of cardio a day, like 6 days a week.
Wait. You're not just gonna skedaddle past that. 3
Yeah.
hours of
Yeah.
what kind of
An
cardio
hour.
were you doing for
I
3
was
hours?
It depends. It depends on how far along I was in my prep. Like I would do an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and an hour at night.
Now, when you say an hour in the morning, what were you doing? Like, were you walking? Were you
No,
elliptical?
I was on the Stairmaster. Stairs. Yep, for an hour.
Wait. I can't do, in the height of my being in shape, I can't do 15 minutes on the stair. You were doing an hour on a Stairmaster in the morning. And then what was your second round of cardio?
And then it depends. It depends on how far along I was in my prep. If I like, just needed to like, burn some body fat, then I would be on the treadmill like at a 12.0 incline at a 3.0 speed. If I needed to like,
Wait. Translation for the average Joe out there, what she just said. 12.0 on an incline on a 3.0 speed means a brisk walk up a very steep hill. So this has to make you go a little crazy at this time. And I'm assuming the diet was chicken broth and celery.
Mostly like tilapia, cod, like any like bottom feeder lean fish. That was like really what my diet consisted of, fish and asparagus. There was a point where I was eating tilapia 6 times a day with just asparagus, and then still hitting my cardio, and then still having to go to work, still having to go to school, finding time to weight train. So like I had to do, and then have all my clients. Like it was a lot. Like I was so young, and it was honestly like another job for me. Like taking it that serious. Like I was still in college, and I was waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, doing my cardio, coming back, going to school, training my clients, going back. It was just, it's a lot. It was a lot of toll. And I think that's what developed that stigma. Like I very, very vividly remember, like, this is when my parents were like, okay, I think we've like had enough if this is the direction that you're going in. Because I was so heavily involved in that figure prep. Like I said, I had crossed over to the dark side, as I like to call it.
Right.
We were at the movies, and I was like 3 weeks out from my show. So I was stupid lean. I had my meals with me in my purse, and I had this,
you had your meals in your purse.
Yes. Like there's a company called 6-Pack Cooler Bags that make purses for meal prep.
You're kidding.
No,
it's a thing. This is a thing.
This is a thing.
Wow.
This is a thing. Yeah. 6-pack cooler bag. So the bottom part is like a cooler, and then the top part is your purse.
Wow.
So like you just slide your meals in, unzip it. No one will ever even know.
So you're at the movies. So you're at the movies, and you're fighting the smell of popcorn and jujubes because you got tilapia and broccoli in your Tupperware, in your purse.
Literally. And I just remember, and it was summertime because I was getting ready to compete in June. So I was with my whole family, like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And I remember standing online. I was wearing like a tank top, crop top, and like very tight leggings, my usual, like, whatever I'm wearing.
Right.
And I have these 2 girls, and she was staring at me as if I was like a circus animal. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's what I felt like. And she was like, oh my God, do you see this? Do you see that girl over there? And then the other girl starts pointing at me. And then she was like, yeah, she looks like a dude. So I turned around and I'm like, no. And I turned around, I lost it. Like I lost it on this girl. And I was like, you know what? I was like, this is such an inappropriate conversation. I said, because
you said something to her. So, you checked the situation.
Oh, come on.
I thought you tucked it in and walked away. So you confronted the threat. Okay.
I had to say something. And I told this girl, like, first of all, I went crazy. I was like, who do you think you are talking about me like that when I'm standing 2 feet away from you? That's number one. I said, number
Mhm.
two, I was like, have you looked in the mirror? Because if I commented on how overweight you were, it would be a problem, and I would be an a-hole, like
Right.
in the grand scheme of things. Like I would be considered like a bad person for making fun of someone who was obese.
And
But it's okay.
people don't talk about that enough. In shape people
They
get
don't.
bullied too.
I get bullied all the
I
time.
think
All the
that
time.
sucks. I think that
Especially when I
sucks.
was at that, when
Uh-huh.
I was that lean and like that way and like looking like that, like, yeah, did I probably look like a dude? I probably did. I absolutely probably did. But it's like, first of all, like how you should look at someone with a physique who can build a physique like mine at the
Exactly.
time
Mhm.
is I have a lot of dedication and a lot of heart. So for
Mhm.
you to turn something that's a positive for
Into
me
right,
that
right.
has nothing to even do with you because
Mhm.
you're not the one working out. You're not the one eating the food for me.
Mm.
And you're not the one who's got to walk around in my body. So
Right.
for you to comment on how I
And be
look is just so
disrespectful enough to say it loud enough
yeah,
to where not only you, but everyone else in this line can
everyone else
obviously.
hears it.
So she
And
deserved
so
to
of
be
course I
checked.
had to say yes,
Right.
because it's not fair.
Mhm.
Again, it's a stigma. Like it's a stigma that girls can't lift weights and that girls can't be strong and that girls can't do this. But it's perfectly fine for girls to be thick. It's perfectly fine
Right.
for girls to be plus size. Those things don't get frowned upon. Those things are actually like, oh yeah, be healthy in your body, like whatever Lizzo like promotes, like about like have like like it's so crazy to me because it's like you're actually not even healthy though. Well, at that
Exactly.
point,
Exactly.
let's clarify that for people too. I'm
Uh,
not saying I was healthy at that point. I
right, right, right,
definitely
right, right.
wasn't.
But it's just the
I
fact that somebody
definitely
stood on their
wasn't.
soapbox to judge someone that they were standing.
Right.
But let
Right.
me ask you this, because that's an interesting point that you bring up. So obviously you're getting some level of kickback from people because you are a woman who is embracing her strength and actually lifting up some weights.
Yeah.
Who do you think you got more kickback from for being a woman that was embracing lifting weights, women or men? Like, who do you think would just get on your nerves? Like, will you just shut the fuck up? Like, who? Like,
Women, for sure. Women.
really? I
Yeah.
would have thought it was
Yeah.
men.
Men honestly are my biggest cheerleaders. Like men think
Really?
that, yeah, like
Okay.
men think it's so cool because like even now, like I'm
Mhm.
still very feminine. Like I used to, I shouldn't say now, but I was deadlifting. Like before I moved out here, I was deadlifting like 310 pounds, like for reps.
Hey, and as a person who is a friend of yours, who's somebody that has
Yeah.
hung out with you're the coolest person to hang out with because we could really talk about like squats and lifts and
Yeah.
like it's the coolest shit. I didn't know that everybody. But women
Yeah.
would look at you like this bitch here, like they wasn't
Yeah.
fucking with it.
Yeah, women are the biggest haters. They are. I'll be the first
Wow.
one to say it. Like women, especially like at that point, they were my biggest hater. But you want to know why? It took me a long time to realize like why are girls so hateful when it comes to other girls? It's
Mhm.
because they're jealous of what it is that you're accomplishing and what
Mm.
that you have the heart and dedication. Because
Right.
most women and guys too. I shouldn't just clarify, but most women hate the body that they're in.
Right.
Hate it.
Yeah.
But they'll go out drinking 7 days a week like fish. They'll
Mhm.
be out at the cheesecake one night. They'll be here another. They'll go to the gym for like a half hour, do some cardio, do
Mhm.
the same circuit that they've been doing for 5 years, and they see no change. So
Mhm.
then they get mad at girls like me who go
Who
from,
put that work in?
right, who I would go, like at that time, I would go from 168 pounds down to 140 in 12 weeks. So they would see me transform and they'd be like, damn. Or I would post like photo shoots and then girls would always be like, oh, you're like so muscular. I just want to be toned. And I'm like, first of all, that's not even a thing.
Right.
One. Two, I'm like, yeah, I'm muscular, but do you know how many years it has taken me to get to this point? You
Mm.
couldn't just walk into a gym and go poof, bippity boppity boo, and like Cinderella,
Voila.
and
Exactly.
there it is. And now I look like you.
Mhm.
Probably, chances are you probably can't ever look like me because our body types are different. Like genetically, like you couldn't look like me. It's just a fact. So
Right.
men were always like, and this is why I naturally have more guy friends than I do girlfriends because
Mhm.
like, especially because a lot of my guy friends are athletes. So like they can talk to me, and
Right.
it's not me going to be like, well, I like did 10 pounds of bicep curls, and then I went to the elliptical, and then I did some squats, and I
All,
did booty bands.
exactly.
Like,
All while reading my Entertainment Weekly magazine.
right, like, or taking my selfies like on Instagram. It's like,
Right.
okay, like you're wasting time. Like, and then you wonder why, like, you don't have a body, or like why you have to spend $20,000 to go
To
get a
get it.
body.
And see, and so,
Like, it's crazy.
exactly. And so now I want to get into the meat potatoes of this. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about this. Okay, so cool. So this is okay. So now I'm going to ask you a lot of the questions that I run into or I have run into in the past in trying to lose weight. So you have to understand, with me, weight loss has been something that's been happening since conception. I was a fat sperm, the only sperm swimming through the fallopian tube with a t-shirt on. That was me. So I've been trying to get this weight off forever, and it's hard as
I'm
fuck.
dead.
So first things first, I've heard so many different things. So just break it down to me and give me the knowledge the best way you can on these topics. Okay. Now, metabolism. I think that this is an urban legend. I don't think that it really exists. And let me tell you why I don't believe in metabolisms. Because I grew up and everybody was saying this was the thing. You need to eat so much more so your metabolism builds up so it burns the food. So it burns the fat so you lose weight. But now I'm hearing more and more people say do the intermittent fasting or only eat. Some people I know only eat one meal a day. So what is it? Is metabolism really a thing? And what's a way to really make it work?
So yeah, your metabolism it's definitely a thing. It just
Okay.
varies from different people. Also too, like when it comes to weight loss and your body and everything like that, genetics plays the major role. Genetics
Okay.
and hard work. So, there's also no such thing as being big boned.
Really?
That's like, yes, there's no such
Okay.
thing.
So
If you
bone,
all
all
put it,
bones are the same size, is by that rationale.
there's no such thing as big boned. That
Okay.
is like the biggest fitness myth. But like to speed up your metabolism, it's just
Mm,
about changing the foods. So like you want to have a more
okay.
high protein diet and you don't want to cut out carbs completely, but
Okay.
you want to cut back on your carbs. So like you would want to do like, let's say when you're calculating like your macros, you would want
Okay.
to do like,
What is a macro? That's a whole conversation I need to have
yeah.
too. Let's
So
have the macro.
macros,
Okay. What's a macro?
a macro is just like a macronutrient. So that's
Okay.
going to be your protein, carbs, and your fat.
Protein,
So
carbs,
that's what a
fat.
macro is.
Mhm.
So that's just like how you're going to calculate, like if you should be in a calorie deficit, what your macros are.
Mhm.
So there's like a whole formula to those things, and then it just breaks down how many proteins, fats, and carbohydrates you can
Okay,
have.
so let me make sure I understand what you're saying correctly, because sometimes I'm stupid. Okay, so when you're dealing with macros or the amount of food that you're supposed to be eating, we know what calories are. Calories are the single digit way to count how much food is worth. So
It's
that's a
coming, yeah,
calorie. And then as far as what macros is, macro is more of it, from what you're explaining to me, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's more of a complex breakdown of is, instead of it just being calories, it's
yeah,
not just calories, it's protein, carbs, fats, this, that, the
yeah,
third. So it's more
yeah,
in depth. It's more like a
yeah.
specific thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I like macros for is I personally, because I've done it all. Like I've
Mhm.
done the strict diet where I could barely even have cheat meals. Then I've also had the free for all frenzy where I didn't even care about anything that I did.
Mhm.
And then now and then I've also done carb cycling. I've done keto. I've done
I want to break those
vegan.
down. And I want to
Yeah.
talk about all of these individually. So
Yeah.
okay, I can't understand the logic of keto because it's all fat and protein. And so you mean to tell me it's cool on that diet to eat 6 eggs, some bacon, and a cup of butter versus an apple and a sandwich? Like that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, but you're putting your body in like a ketosis state, and like that's really what it is, and when you're getting the carbs out. Now,
Okay.
I don't fully believe in doing a keto. The
Okay.
only time I would really say like if you're like severely diabetic,
Okay.
because you have to watch like your carb because of the sugars and all that stuff. But even then, I still really don't suggest it because of the fat.
And
Like
that's bad for your heart.
clog, yeah, which
Okay.
is going to clog your arteries, and then that's
Mhm.
bad for your heart long term.
Okay.
Also, too, being a full-blown vegan for long term or a plant-based dieter for long term,
You're
your
vegan?
body, I was
Oh,
for
okay.
a hot minute.
Got
I
you.
was for a hot minute.
Okay.
Just to see if I could do it.
Mhm.
It didn't last that long,
So
but
you could not do it.
yeah,
Okay.
literally. It
Right.
was, the hardest part about being a vegan was the eggs. That was the
Oh,
hardest.
eggs.
That
I
was
feel
it.
like eggs are like the centerpiece to win when
Yes.
you're trying to get in shape.
And
It's
just like
always
I
there.
love breakfast. I love breakfast, so I love eggs. If you told me I could only eat eggs all day long, I'd be fine with it. Really,
Okay.
honestly. That's how much I love it. So I had a problem with that.
Mm.
So now your body needs these poor nutrients. So your
Okay.
body still needs fats and everything like that. So doing anything for long term just really isn't good for you. I'm like a big fan of cycling
Mm.
in food and
Okay.
cycling food out. So like, I do a cheat meal once or twice a week
So let me
where,
ask you about that. So
yeah,
I thought that, okay, so from what I understood to win, you're supposed to have cheat days. But the more I get into this game, I'm understanding you don't do cheat days, you
no.
do cheat meals. How many cheat meals should you have a week, and what should you do to earn these?
It really just depends on what your goal is.
Okay.
I also look at it this way, like diet, that terminology should be out of everyone's head and out of everyone's mind. The
Okay.
reason I say that is because the first three letters in diet is DIE. So it's die.
It is
So it's
that.
like
I
you
didn't even think
should
about that.
like, yeah, like you shouldn't look at life as a diet or like my birthday's coming up or the holidays or summer or this or that. I'm going away on a vacation. Like this should be your lifestyle. So then when you're in a consistent lifestyle, you don't even
Mhm.
have to worry about those things. Like I relatively stay at 150 pounds, but like, you know me, I love donuts. I
Mhm.
love to
You're the
eat.
donut
So like,
queen.
literally, that's like my claim to fame on Instagram is me being the donut queen.
Uh,
So, I eat those. I have Oreos in my cabinet right now. If I wanted an Oreo, I'll have one. But the difference is
mm.
because it's my lifestyle, I could have one Oreo, walk away and be satisfied. And it's not going to
One
make or
Oreo?
break me.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I could eat maybe one sleeve of Oreos, but you could eat just one
Yeah.
or two. You could
Yeah.
just eat
I
one to
could.
two.
Yeah.
I be
And then
having
I could just walk away.
so what you're saying by that rationale is you don't restrict yourself from anything, but you restrict yourself from everything in that sense because you're you're
Yeah.
you're you're cutting the volume of. It's like, no, I can eat some pizza, just not gonna eat the whole pizza.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And then I'm still giving my body those quote unquote poor nutrients of like fats, oils, whatever it is. And
Mhm.
then, your body goes into a shock because when your body's not used to eating like that every single day and
Mhm.
you're used to eating clean, it actually helps speed up your metabolism. So like that's why like when you're consistently like, on a meal plan and like counting your calories, your macros and everything like that, you'll
Mhm.
notice like if you have a cheat meal on Sunday, you'll wake up Monday like a pound or two lighter.
Right. That I've
But
seen
if
that
you
happen.
do a whole cheat day, now
Mhm.
you're consuming crap all day long, start to finish. So now your body's going to hold on to all that fat and sugar and water retention. And then if you weigh yourself the next day, you'll gain like 4 to 5 pounds.
I've seen
Most
that
of it's
happen.
water,
I've seen
but
that
most of it's
happen.
water.
Okay.
Most of it's water because of the sodium content. So your body's just kind of going crazy, like, yo, what's going on? Like we were
So
just fine eating fish and chicken and ground turkey and whatever else, and now you're feeding us like all this poor stuff all in one shot.
So then, okay, so then as far as the metabolism talk, then so this is what I'm under the belief of now that I've actually been able to lose some weight and see different things. Now tell me what your thoughts is on this. I believe in order to make your metabolism work, you got to be doing some level of strength training. Would you believe, like, would you say that there is some truth to that? Because I've been the dude that's just done massive amounts of cardio and like I'll lose weight when I'm doing the massive amounts of cardio, but then it's like it ends soon as I stop. But when I like lift weights, like I be feeling myself losing weight and I don't even have to work so hard because like I know that like your body has to burn
Right.
calories to repair. So would you say that at least some level of strength needs to be there to aid the metabolism to work?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes and no. So I wouldn't say like, yeah, just strength training and that's what's going to do it. But yes,
Mm.
absolutely. Because strength training, you'll actually lose like more body fat that way,
Okay.
as opposed to just doing regular steady state
Say that one
cardio.
more time. You can lose more weight
By
lifting
weight
weights
training,
versus cardio?
And versus, yeah, doing steady state cardio where you're just walking on the treadmill or just being on the elliptical, like that's just steady state cardio that's good for your health. But weightlifting, what you're doing is for every pound of fat that you lose, you're going to burn an additional 5 calories at rest by sitting on the couch doing absolutely nothing. And your
Wow.
window of burning, yeah, for weight training after, your window of burning calories, just like, again, if you're going to run errands or anything like that, is higher than you would for cardio. Because once you get your body up into that metabolic state and then you get off and that's it, then it's just done. Then you're not really burning as many calories as you were after weight training.
And which is also why more protein intake is necessary, correct? Because you need that to keep rebuilding the muscle. So basically what's happening, if you're explaining this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, basically what's happening in your body is when you work out, you're tearing down, basically just ripping up the muscle. It's tearing it up. And then with proper nutrition and protein and rest and different things, that's what helps you lose the weight, because your body is fixing that, like repairing that, and that's what helps you to lose the weight.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
It's what you're doing is like you're breaking down the muscle fibers, so you're wearing and tearing. So like you need amino acids, like and that's in like that comes from food. Like that's just vitamin and nutrients that you can get in food that's going to refuel. And then there's also like, supplements like BCAAs. So that's just branched chain amino acids, and that's the building blocks to protein. So like you could drink that right during your workout, after your workout, throughout the day. I drink my aminos like throughout the day or whatever. And then that's just going to help you repair what you've done.
And does that help with the soreness too? Because what I like the reason why I fall off of a lot of workout plans sometimes is that initial first couple weeks, it hurts bad. Do you ever stop feeling sore, or for the rest of your life when you're working out, will you always have some level of soreness after you work out?
You'll still have some level of soreness depending on your workouts, and also just like, I mean, everybody still gets sore. I'm so sore still from my leg workout on Monday, so it's like, and I've been an athlete and I've been doing this my whole life. So it just really depends on like what body part you're hitting. It also depends on what exercises that you're doing. It's just shock to your system. Like, like I still love HIIT training, and I could do an
now
all
tell me
body
what
weight.
HIIT training is versus steady state cardio. Now HIIT is HIIT. It's an acronym. What does that stand for?
So it stands for high intensity interval training. So basically it's when you're doing like a work to rest ratio. So for an example, you would do like 45 seconds of 15 seconds off. So you're raising your heart rate and bringing it back down. So what that's doing is it's actually helping you burn body fat and preserving muscle, because you're not just going at it. The best way that I could put that is look at a sprinter and look at a long distance runner.
Sprinters be jacked. They
are built.
Right.
They're only doing short bursts of cardio. And then they're also implementing weight training because they need that power. They need to jolt off. As opposed to a long distance runner, you need to be more frail and more like agile, because you can't be carrying around that weight. Like, I don't care what anyone says, like the bigger you are, the heavier, and especially the more muscle that you have, like the harder it is to run. Dude, you will never catch a bodybuilder dead running. Dead running. I couldn't even, and I know the top guys in the industry, you would never see these guys running.
So like the most jacked dudes don't run.
They will have a heart attack. The bodybuilders, they will have a heart attack.
That's very interesting, but they can lift probably the whole gym if you put it on some barbells. Okay. So let me also ask you this. Because this is, okay, so you know about my story because you and I know each other in real life. So I used to be up to 486 pounds. That was me at my highest. I had weight loss surgery. I had the gastric sleeve back in 2015. And so what ended up happening when I got gastric sleeve surgery, it basically just restricted the amount of food that I was able to eat. But I see a lot of people that did the surgery that were gaining their weight back because your stomach can grow, so you can gain weight. So over the last few years, and then I had developed like a crazy alcohol addiction because I had what was called a transfer of addiction, all these things. So I have been up and down, from 486 all the way down to as low as I think the lowest I got was like 245. Okay. So my goal is 225. Why is it like the last 30, 40 pounds, or just why is it that last amount of weight in any, because I've seen this story happen with many, many people. Why is that last amount of weight so difficult to lose for a lot of us? Because I swear the last 20 pounds just to get to 225. I swear it seems like the most evasive thing ever. If I was losing 2 pounds a week when I was really at it, it's like my body just shuts down, stops doing what it was doing, and starts going the other way. Why is that last 20 to 30 pounds so difficult to lose for all of us?
I'll give you an analogy. So the
Okay.
reason why is because your body adapts over time.
Okay.
So, and if you're going from, barely moving at all whatsoever to making slow life changes, anything like, if you ever watch that show, My 600-Pound Life,
I
them
do.
walking from the front door to bless you, to the mailbox is like a
The
milestone
task,
for them.
right.
Where for me, if I need to work out like twice a day or I'm going batshit crazy. But anyway, so like it's just you're going from not moving to moving. So of course you'll lose any amount of weight because you're just now getting active.
Right.
But the best analogy that I explain to people why the last 20 is so hard is, let's say your favorite restaurant is the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
You go to the Cheesecake Factory every single day for the next month. By the time that month is over, you're going to be sick of the Cheesecake Factory. You're going to be like this, oh my God, that place again. So your body does the same thing. Like,
wow.
Oh my God, like you've been doing an hour on the elliptical every day, 5 days a week for a year straight. Like we're sick, we're done. I don't want to do this anymore.
What?
So now your body starts to hold on to that last 10, 15 pounds because your body's over everything that it is that you're doing.
Wow.
So that's why you always have to be changing. Like I can't get behind the people who go, okay, Monday's my leg day, Tuesday's back, Wednesday's this. Me, I walk into the gym, I go, what's not packed today?
Oh, so you figure it out when you get there.
Yeah.
Wow.
People make working out and exercising so much harder than what it has to be. I don't carry a journal. I don't sit there and write out all my workouts. The only time I write out my workouts is when I know I'm coming out with an ebook and I'm literally putting myself through these workouts before I just sell anything to people. Because like I'm not that influencer. I don't sell Fit Tea and I don't give you bullshit 30-day squat programs with body weight and grow your butt. Sorry, not me.
Right.
I'm not monetizing off dumb, inaccurate stuff. So like I put myself through these workouts that I give to my clients, or when I do my ebooks, or now that I rolled out my app, I did all those workouts like for myself. Right. So anyway, so people make working out so much harder than what it actually has to be. It's really just not that difficult. So for that last 10 to 15 pounds, you got to look at like, what's my split? What have I been doing? Have I only been doing steady state cardio? Maybe I should try HIIT, or maybe I should do boxing, or maybe I should do like, what people also need to understand is fitness isn't just about walking into the gym 6 days a week. It's not. It's not for everybody.
Let's get into that as well, because I want to talk about all the different components that go into weight loss versus just working out.
Yeah, it's honestly like the key to weight loss is sincerely like that saying, like abs are made in the kitchen. It's very true. You have to take your nutrition serious. So like you can't out train a poor diet. So if you're eating like crap and going to the gym all the time, it's not going to do anything. You're going to look the same. Like I go to a gym back home in New York, Bev Francis Powerhouse, very famous gym. I have been going to that gym since 2010. There are so many people in that gym who have looked the exact same since 2010 to now.
So it's just like you're just going there just to stay in neutral. So then tell me about this. So then how strict are you on the diet? And so there's more emphasis need to, because I'm coming up on my last like 30 pounds to get there. Right. And I've been here before, like, you know what I mean? So should I be doing the major tweaking on the diet? Should it just be like, let's put way more focus on this? Because what I've learned is,
no. For you, you're a different case.
Okay.
Like you need to refocus on your training. That's what you need to do. So it really just depends on your goal and where you're at with your fitness goals. So like, it's a hard question to answer because like, it's a vague question. Like I could sit here and be like, yeah, you should focus on the training and then not focus on the diet. But for other people, it really just depends on the individual and what your goals are. So like me right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm more focused on my training than I am on my diet because I just did this whole like I was in New York for 2 months because LA went into our second shutdown, and it
I'm
was just
so sick of
miserable
it.
here.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
so sick of it. It was so miserable. And
Hmm.
back where I live on the East Coast in New York and Long Island, everything was open. So
Hmm.
I was going back. And anyway, when I got back to LA, I decided to, all right, this is it. Like, summer's coming up for myself.
Hmm.
And because I want to get back into modeling and fitness modeling and stuff, I need to come down and I need to lose. I need to lose 15 pounds.
Okay.
So I said to myself, this is going to be the hardest. This is going to be the hardest 15 pounds because I just worked my butt off to go from 168 to 150. And
Hmm.
then I only gained 2 pounds while I was home in New York, which is not bad for 2 months of eating pizza and bagels every single day.
Right, right.
Because you can't pass that up when there's a bagel
Not
shop
when
in
you
every
come on,
corner.
when in
Not when
Rome.
you're in
Come
New
on,
York.
come on,
Not when you're in New
come
York.
on. Exactly.
And so I decided when I got back I was going to make lifestyle changes
Hmm.
that were going to help me in my goal, because I didn't want to just lose all that 15 pounds in a month. I
Hmm.
wanted to do it the right way. So I decided to start waking up at 6 a.m. every day, and
Okay.
I do 20 minutes of yoga, and then I go on a 2.5 mile run 6 days a week,
On an empty
just to,
stomach,
like,
because I'm hearing that
yes,
that fasted cardio is the
fasted
lick.
cardio.
Okay.
Yes. Yes and no. Again, that kind of depends on your genetics, but yes, fasted cardio can speed up your metabolism. And
Okay.
I also just like to jumpstart my day like that. That's
Okay.
just me as a person. I like to feel active. I like to, get my endorphins going. That's my version of self-care. Some girls like bath bombs. I like going and for a nice sweaty run.
Gotcha. Got you.
So I decided to focus more on my training now
Hmm.
and start doing the things that make me feel uncomfortable. So because I'm so comfortable being in a gym and doing bodybuilding, I decided I want to, like, put a different spin on fitness and training and do virtual and start training at home and get
Okay.
creative with training at home. Because let's face it, if there is anything that this pandemic has taught, like, the fitness industry, is you really don't need a gym.
So let's talk about that, because everybody kind of, most people caught that quarantine 20, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
how do people get it off? So if you're stuck in the house, you do not have access to a gym, because as of right now, we're both in LA, the gyms are still closed.
Yeah.
What do you do if you are
You could
just stuck
literally
in the
do a
house?
body weight. You could do body weight exercises that, like, that you will sweat and burn more calories with a body weight exercising than you will in the gym touching
Now,
dumbbells and
when you
machines.
say a body weight exercise, you're talking, and now mind you, I mean, before we go any further, I want to ask you this question. Why is squatting such a powerful exercise? Because every bodybuilder or every influencer that I see seems to swear by squats. What is the magic power and not just
It's just
body weight
it's a
squats, but just
Yeah.
squats?
It's a compound exercise, and because let's face it, like, your legs are, one of the biggest muscles in your body. So
Mhm.
for a squat, like, you could literally hit four different parts of your leg just by, like, like, by switching your foot position. So your squat, like, you could hit, like, your glutes, you could hit just your hamstrings, your quads. Like, there's just so many different things that you could do in a squat, because you could have your feet in a neutral, shoulder width apart, heels
Mhm.
and toes out, for your inner thigh. Then you can go into a wide. Then you can go into a sumo stance. Then you can go into a narrow stance. Then you can go into a chair stance. And you'll hit all different parts of your legs. So you're taking one exercise and you could do seven, essentially,
Wow.
like seven different things within that one exercise. So that's why it's a good staple exercise and it's a classic.
Mhm.
I like, it's no secret. I have a good glutes, and I worked really hard on my
You do.
legs and my glutes,
You do. Right.
And when people are like, "Oh, you must hip thrust," I'm like, "You will probably almost never catching me to hip thrust. I squat.
Okay.
I squat, but I changed
Squatters
my
it's starting to seem like the
yeah,
superpower amongst the
yeah,
people that are really, in the game as far as their
right.
fitness. And so you said, so back to the pandemic fitness. So you said, use body weight resistance. So just run me through a quick circuit of what a person could do in their living room to build up a quick sweat. Like, are you saying like push-ups, squats? Like, what's something you can do in your house
Yeah. So
to
you
win?
could do hit. So you
Okay.
could do like a hit. So you could set up a timer, like, let's say 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and you could do 3 or 4 sets of an exercise.
Mhm.
and you could pick like 9 different exercises, and that'll be like a 45-minute workout. So you could switch from doing like a body weight squat as like your
Mhm.
first exercise. Your second exercise could be a jump squat.
Mhm.
So you're bringing your heart rate down and then bringing it back up with the jump squat. Then you can go into like a push up. Then you could go into like an ice skater. You can go into a burpee. Like there's just so many different body weight exercises that you could do that you
Mhm.
could put it together. So that's what I'm trying to focus on, like for myself and like
And you
as a
have an app
direction
for
of
the
my
you
business.
you actually have
Yeah.
an app that simplifies
Yeah.
this for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So my app is basically designed because I said to myself, I was like, you know what? Again, I thought that the fitness industry was invincible.
Mhm.
Like if you would have asked me like a year and a half ago, I would have laughed and said, there's no way that gyms are not an essential. Like there's just no way that it's not an essential business, because think about it, like this is your health and your body. Like how wouldn't you want people mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy
Right.
to fight these viruses and these things, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and I just never thought I'd ever see the day. So when this happened, like, my industry, along with everybody else, but predominantly my industry, especially here in LA, has been hit the hardest.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh
so, and
yeah,
I
I've
said,
seen
I
it.
was
Yeah.
like, yeah, and like, you can't sit here and tell me that it's okay that weed is legal, like is an essential, and alcohol and liquor stores, they're all an essential. Because now you're just getting fat and eating food and getting depressed, in a house, and you're cooped up and you can't go outside or do fitness. No. So I thought to myself, how can I make people strong mentally, emotionally, and physically in the house? So
Mhm.
when I came out with my app, I was like, I got to do all body weight stuff, and I got to teach these people, like, you don't need a whole ton of equipment, or you don't need any equipment at all to still get in shape. Because everyone was just letting this quarantine define them. They were like, well, I'm just gonna eat. I'm
Well,
just gonna.
hey, I'm telling you, this the pandemic was not only making a lot of people out of shape, it was creating a bunch of alcoholics. I'm telling you, we're not gonna know the real effect from this whole pandemic for probably like another 5 or 6 years. But
Oh yeah, no.
which leads me to my next point. So I love the fact that, like that your app is dope like that, and it's letting people, what I'm saying, get fit at home. What would you say to the people out there? Because like you said, it is very, very frustrating for, the government and the people to kind of like ban you from going outside, ban you from working out. Would you say that okay, so we know that what we're dealing with COVID-19, as somebody that has, spent, over a decade in the fitness arena, would you say, like, to the common person out there, that there is a lot to be put into our own physical health just in case we do actually contact COVID so our bodies can fight it off? How important is it for us
Absolutely.
to be working out to not only build our physical but also our immune system? Like, how do those tie in hand, would you say?
It is so important. It is so important. And like if you look in the beginning, like because people always tell me that my comments are insensitive when it comes to this stuff. But if you look at the beginning of who was getting hit the hardest and who was dying the quickest, and it was people who have underlying health issues.
Right.
The chances of a healthy person dying from COVID-19 was very slim to none.
Mm.
And just because, like, I know someone who's a doctor and who was doing autopsies, they said that they had pre-existing like conditions that they didn't even know about.
Right.
So it was literally like they highlighted maybe like 7 cases of like, oh, this person was young and like fit and like they died. Well, that's not really what happened, but you know how the
Right.
media goes.
Right.
So, people who had underlying health issues. So if the pandemic should have taught anyone anything, it's
Mhm.
that you need to invest, because your health is your wealth.
Yeah. Facts. You only get one of these
Like
bodies. You only get one.
you really do. And it's crazy because, like, look at America compared to other countries. And I only realized this when I left the country for the first time, because we have so much access. And I'm gonna sorry to my Texans. I love Texas. But when I was in Texas,
Mhm.
I shit you not, from my hotel to my brother's base in San Antonio, me
Mhm.
and my sister counted 150 fast food places off the highway.
Wow.
And let's think about it. It's all chemicals. It's all shit. Like, my great grandmother, God bless her soul, lived to be 98 years old.
Mhm.
And like, and I'm Italian. So it's like, you're talking about deep frying everything. We were doing
Lasagna,
it.
pasta, and the such. Right.
Sunday dinners. But like now people are dying in their 30s, 40s, 50s, heart attacks, dying in their sleep, diabetes. Like, these are things like kids are getting diabetes. Young kids are overweight. And it's because of the food that they consume. They're not going and driving to the supermarket to Vons at
Right.
8 years old. Mom and dad are doing it. So
Mhm.
when you have cookies and all this like stuff in there, it's like you're enabling them. So, you know,
And then when you
diet and nutrition
compound that, you compound that with all the bad shit in the fridge, and then you just keep everyone in the house and not even go outside to move, and all
you're eating because you're bored. And so
absolutely.
that's like the number one thing. So like, you know, that you need to take your vitamins. Like when coming across the COVID-19, they say that a lot of people had like no zinc in their body and vitamin D. So like every day I take a stack of I take a multivitamin, I take zinc, I take my apple cider vinegar gummies, and then I also
They
take
have apple cider vinegar gummies. Tell me more, because I hate that. I've tried apple cider vinegar. It's
I hate the
disgusting.
taste. It's
Right.
so nasty, but the gummies are A1.
What is the benefit of apple cider vinegar? It just breaks up stomach fat?
So it actually will help you speed up it could spike up your metabolism, and it helps curves your appetite also. And it's also good for weight loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So
so the gummies are like a lifesaver. Boss Bears, they're like the best brand. And I take my multivitamin from them also. And then I take my zinc from them also, and my turmeric. So these are all things that you should be taking. And vitamin C is the number one, because that's going to help build up your immune system.
Okay.
So like you should be taking those types of supplements and incorporating that into your everyday, for sure. So your vitamins and nutrition, you need to take care of that before you do anything. And that's why people are getting sick with this stuff. It's the foods that we're eating. It's the things that we're drinking. And then people were just cooped up in the house and they were doing nothing but drinking. Like I had friends and they would call me and they'd be like, it's 2:00. I'm coming over to go by the pool and drink. I was actually at your place.
You were there. Listen, 939 days of sobriety. You know, like I lost it in this pandemic. Like this pandemic cracked a bunch of people, man. It busted their heads wide open. That's why I think it's important to do content like this, because you know me, like, you know, we've talked about this. Like, as much as I thought it was like, yo, I just want to just make people laugh. That's great. This shit is important, because if motherfuckers die, that's just it. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm one of those people, and you know, me and you have had long, extensive conversations and just being like-minded on that, and just being that if we're gonna have these platforms, let's use them to educate people for something more than just, you know, self. So I love that we're able, and I hate that I feel like I got so many more questions to ask. So this absolutely can't be our last time doing this. But let me ask you this before we wrap this all up. I just want you to just try to help me with this. Let's just say, for all of the fans out there, men, women, whatever, anybody that's just saying, you know what, I'm a little overweight. It doesn't even matter. Let's just say it's 30 or 40 pounds. Let's just use a nominal number. The number doesn't matter. But let's just say somebody's overweight. They're carrying a little bit of extra weight and they want to start something to get on the healthier path. What do you say to that person as a starting point? Because I know sometimes the most difficult part can be just beginning. What can you say to all those people out there that are just looking for some spark of motivation to start? And why should they start now? What would you say to that person listening?
That's a good one. It's taken me a long time to be able to get this answer, but out of all of my years in being a trainer, I've realized the first step to taking this initiative is accountability. And what I mean by that is writing down in a journal, why are you in the position that you're in today?
Ooh, okay.
So that's the first step, is understanding and accepting. Because what most people do is they beat themselves up. I'm a fat piece of shit. I had a traumatizing childhood. I had this, I had that. They feel sorry for themselves instead of taking accountability. Instead of taking accountability to say, you know what? When I was younger, I had X, Y, and Z happen to me. Or when I was younger, I always just had a food addiction because I didn't have a good relationship at home. Whatever it is, when you see it on a piece of paper and you're now writing out, I'm accountable for these things. That was yesterday and 27 years of my life gone out the door that I can't, but let me step forward into my future. Then after you've hit the accountability aspect of it, now you say, how am I going to get to my goal? How am I going to get there?
Okay.
And it starts by small life changes, like the
Okay.
little things that I did, waking up at 6 a.m.
Mhm.
Maybe you sleep in until 11 every day. So waking up at 6 will give you a head start to your day.
Mhm.
Maybe changing your environment. Like, okay, this is the reason why I'm really overweight. We buy crappy foods in my house, like if you still live at home, whatever it is. Again, figure it out. What
Mhm.
is your trigger, and how do we remove that trigger so it doesn't keep on triggering you?
And then we just
So
game
once you
plan it.
could get, yes,
Mhm.
because it's when you're coming into weight loss, it's all mental, emotional, and physical. Like it's not just physical,
Mhm.
but you got to get the mental part of it first in order to get the physical. So that's always my best suggestion is inner look at
That's really a
yourself,
dope
find
answer.
your,
I wasn't expecting
yeah,
it to blow me
I
away like
know.
that, but it
I
kind of
know
did.
most people don't. Most people expect me to be like, okay, start off by doing cardio,
Chicken and
like
asparagus, right?
take out the Oreos, like
Right.
that's it. But in all honesty, you will fail over and over and over again if you don't take accountability for your own actions and if you learn how to be nicer to yourself.
Ooh,
We
kindness.
we as people,
Mhm.
kindness, seriously,
Mhm.
it's saying to yourself, you know what? I screwed up. Yesterday, I had 10 Oreos before I went to bed. But you know what? That was Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. It's fine. It's not that serious. 10 Oreos. It's going to be okay. But
Exactly.
instead, people punish themselves.
We put
Fuck
that
it. I just
negative.
ate 10 Oreos. It's Tuesday. I'm going to go back to the gym on Monday. So that means you're going to sabotage yourself
A
Wednesday,
whole
Thursday,
week.
Friday, Saturday, and
I'm
Sunday.
telling
5 days
you,
is sabotaging
I'm
to
the
get to the
king of
gym
let's
on
start it
Monday.
on Monday. I'm the king of that. And I'm the king of make a mistake. And I can't just make isolated mistakes. It's I ate a slice. I gotta finish the pizza. I took a sip. I
Right.
gotta finish the bottle. And that's the mind state that fucked me every time.
And that's you not being accountable for your own actions. It's just like
Mhm.
sweeping it under the rug. And this is where that poor relationship comes with yourself. So you need to work on that relationship. So like I always say, like self affirmations are like the greatest. So like I always have on my mirror like 4 positive things written on my mirror. So then
Okay.
I could repeat them to myself. Or I'm a big fan of journaling. So
Mm.
like I'll reflect on like my day before, like, like the other day, like I messed up and I had 2 cheat meals instead because I ended up going out with my girlfriend.
Mhm.
It is what it is. Am I going to
Life
sit here and
happens,
beat myself up
shit
over
happens.
it?
Mhm.
No, I had fun. Like I want to
You
live my
lived
life
life.
too.
You
I
lived
don't want to
life.
lay on my deathbed and be like, all those times that I ate grilled chicken and brown rice, it was so worth it. Do I have abs here? No,
Right.
I want to be like this. I ate donuts in every single state. I traveled the world.
Mhm.
I did X, Y, and Z. Like you need to live your life. So that's my best suggestion for anyone who's looking to start is finding accountability within yourself and make sure that you stay accountable by also coming up with a list of what is it that I'm going to do? Small life changes. Don't go from 0 to 100.
I
Don't say,
always go
okay,
0 to 100, and I
I'm
always
I'm
stall out.
cutting I'm cutting out sugar, I'm cutting out this, and then you're 3 weeks deep at a family party. They put out some cake, and you go, you know what? I've been
It's a
so
wrap.
good. Let me
I
reward
deserve
myself.
this. I
I
deserve it.
deserve this.
And then you eat 6
Instead of
pizzas.
exactly, then it goes right back to the whole, fuck it, I'm
And
just
then if you don't love me
like
for
that.
me, if you can't love me at my worst, and then trust me, it's just a negative loop that I've lived for
It's
too
it
years.
is. It's very
It's a
scary,
wrap.
and you get very dark into those. So that's the first thing is holding yourself accountable to why you are in the position that you're in now, and then also my other suggestion is seeking professional help first.
Mm,
Like it's always smarter to me, and I've always said this to to clients. It's never for me. It's never about the money.
mhm.
It's I want to teach you, and I want you to learn. How are you supposed to learn? Did you
Facts.
wake up one day and you knew everything that you learned in school from kindergarten to 12th grade? No,
Nope.
you were taught. You were taught that. So
Facts.
I always tell people like personal training is not a waste of money if you're going to the right person. If you're at a commercial gym, that's totally different. But like if you're in the right environment and getting the right advice from somebody, yeah, it's good to learn then because then you absorb all of that and then
Mhm.
you're able to learn and do research for yourself.
And you'll appreciate it more too than if you just do some shit that
It
somebody
becomes
told
your
you to do.
lifestyle.
And that's what I think it is. I think that if it can become less Diet, because diet just feels so temporary and just more lifestyle. I figure like that's the key. Well, listen, this has been another great installment of the Doughboy 2.0 show. I'm mad that I didn't get to everything, and I do want to cordially invite you now, because for all the fans out there that have been watching the content, I know that you guys haven't gotten a Get Fit Say Less episode in a while, and there's a very good reason. I want to invite you to come do a Get Fit Say Less episode where basically I want to see if I can survive one of your workouts on camera.
Okay.
So I would
Threaten
love
me
to
with a
do
good
that,
time.
and we could chop it up and have a
Okay.
workout, and you know what I'm saying, maybe inspire some people to get in shape. But let everybody know where they can find you in these social media streets, where they can find you to follow your content, plug all your socials and stuff right now. Let the floor is yours.
So I'm literally on every single social media platform as Linsey Marie Fit. So you can catch me on Twitter, you can catch me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Triller, YouTube. Everything is Linsey Marie Fit. On Instagram, you can find me at the Donut Queen also.
Nice. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know this won't be the last time that we have that we will chop it up about things like this. So thank you again. Like I said, I have been Doughboy. This has been the Doughboy 2.0 show. Peace. All right. And